Guys, so we are going to get started. Thanks so much for joining me. Tonight we are going to be talking all about the 9 actions for lasting relationships. But before we do anything, what I want to do is I just want to run through a bit of housekeeping, just things that we need to know throughout the webinar. All right, so we're going to be having approximately going for about 60 minutes, 1 hour. And depending on if there's any questions or not, we're going to be, we might go a bit over, but that's all dependent on you guys. So there is a chat box on the screen that you're viewing if you're viewing it through the Relationships Revealed website. So have fun with this, chat below, chat to each other, share your thoughts and your questions, and do whatever you need to get the most from this. So if you do have any questions going through, just type a question in the chat box, and we'll get to those at the end of the webinar. So if there isn't any questions at the end, then I will be wrapping up early. But this has been designed just to be more content. It's just I want you to get the most out of it, and yeah, just so that you can get the most out of it. So it is going to be all content. I'm going to share with you an invitation at the very end. But besides that, it's all content and all value for you guys. So there is also a comments box below if you're on the Relationships Revealed website or you're watching this on YouTube. So as it goes on, just share with me what's working for you and what's resonating you, and let me know if I miss anything or if something could be explained a bit more. But more than anything, I just want to say thank you to you guys for joining me. It means a lot, and I'm trusting that you're going to get a lot of value out of tonight. So who here is in a relationship, has ever been in one, or ever wanted to be in one? That pretty much covers everyone here, I imagine. And so who here has ever felt stuck in their relationships? Whether you're in a relationship right now or not, like the roles of who you thought you needed to be, parent, husband, wife, fiance, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or simply just single, get too much for you sometimes. And you're unsure how to do it, and sometimes you feel like you really feel like you're losing yourself. And the gaps are being created between yourself and others, and you're unsure how to actually please them and also please yourself, asking that inevitable question: how do I be in a relationship and still be me? And whoever has felt that before, or maybe you're feeling it right now, you know exactly how exhausting that can be. And finally, who here, even if you've already overcome these challenges in your past, are experiencing these challenges in your relationships today? So, and you're somewhat unsure how to handle them. So if these apply to you, then you are definitely in the right place, and everything from here on out has been made for you guys. All right, so now that we know that you guys are in the right place, I just want to share with you a bit about who I am. Some of you may already know me, but for those of you that don't, my name is Frank Farber. I'm from Sydney, and my true passion more than anything else is around helping people, and particularly around relationships, just because to me, they've been so utterly perplexing over the years, and it's been really great to sort of dig my teeth in and to figure out how it all works together. So throughout this time, throughout the time that I've been studying relationships and been studying human behavior, I realized one very inescapable truth of it all, and that is that everything comes back to relationships. Everything comes back to relationships, not just a relationship with yourself, that is at the very, very, very core for yourself, but relationships in the way that how you feel in your relationships one day can affect how you act at work the other day, and it can completely transform everything for you. So relationships are at the very, very core of it all. And very much the quality of life is very much linked to the quality of your relationships. So by understanding how to do these better, it is going to impact the greater quality of your life, and you're going to understand how to influence others more, and also feel more fulfilled yourself and get what you want out of it as well. All right, so tonight's promise and what I want you to get out tonight. This webinar is really going to be within the context of intimate relationships, but more focused on what it takes from an individual's level to create a fulfilling, deep, and lasting connection in your relationships. And this is for you no matter whether or not you're single, you've just entered into a relationship, or you've been married for 20 years or anywhere in between. More than anything, and this links very much back to my mission and why I started this in the first place, I believe that we each have a right to choose our own path in life. And because of that, relationships don't just need to be this 50-50 split where we each only bring what the other believes that they're missing, and sort of this horse trading. Oh yeah, I'll give you this, but you got to give me this in return. It's much more than that. Relationships aren't 50-50. They're in fact 100-100 with both partners living their own life as they each desire, and both of them choosing to return to their mate for love, acceptance, and support. And you create your own life between you, but also your own life as well. And that joint life that you do create between you is more than either of you could ever do alone. So I talk a lot about choice as we go along, and it's going to keep on coming back to that. And so if you're in a relationship, this means that your partner will be pulled together. You'll be pulled together with your partner greater than ever before, because there is a level of absolution within. You'll be able to see more things within them, qualities you wouldn't be able to see if you weren't so full of love. When that happens, that person becomes a gateway to your soul. When there is that amount of love within you, it sort of implodes. It implodes from within, and that one person, that partner, becomes the one that you're more deeply connected to than anybody else. If you're single and you start doing this, you struggle to keep people away from you, both friends and love interests as well. That love within takes a world that is so much bigger than you and pulls it together with you at the center of it all, acting as this huge gravitational force. With a love and respect for yourself and a love and respect for others, everything changes and relationships progress to a whole new level. This is what awaits when you bring your best to the relationships. And whilst all this is really a nice idea, sometimes there's a bunch of challenges, as we all know, in achieving that. And so what we want to do is we want to get you to the place where there is so much love, there is so much joy for your life, yourself, others, and life and the world around you, that it basically implodes from it and it pulls everything towards you. And it changes your entire relationships as well as yourself as well. So here's the here's the agenda for what's ahead tonight and what I'm going to cover this evening. So first up, there's a bit about how I got to where I am today and why I'm here. So a bit about my story, and within that, how I found the most common trap in relationships. You're going to find exactly what it takes for a relationship to grow. This is something that we all go through, and this is going to be a chance for you to figure out the gaps, where the gaps might be for you, and what the next stage is for you as well. Going to outline each of the turning points in an intimate relationship, going from a very very basic level, all the way up to parent and creating something that outlives you. And in the meantime, we're going to have some exercises, that really simple exercises that you can make some immediate changes with. Lastly, I'm going to have, second lastly I should say, I'm going to invite you to join me in a community where we can discuss this all further. So tonight is all about content. It's all about value for you to use. But to understand and gain a little more on what's missing for you, I'm going to invite you to the Facebook group on All Making Love Last, which actually covers all this stuff. So you can get around people of a similar mindset as well, and also ask me any questions as well. And it's all about getting in there and staying in staying on the next level so you can keep on moving forward for yourself. And lastly is the wrap up and goodbye. So if there are any questions, then I will be addressing them then. Otherwise, it's saying goodbye to everyone and thanking you all for a lovely night. So why am I here? I'm here today because as incredible as relationships are, they seem to have an innate ability to make people do crazy, crazy things. When I was first starting out, I wanted to know why relationships came with such confusion. And looking back to my own struggles in relationships, it got to a point where I was clueless on what to do. And I couldn't make it work. So I basically just turned off to it all. I didn't want anything to do with relationships. And by the time I started coaching, I just wanted to know why did it all happen and how to change it. But as much as I wanted to focus on relationships then, I knew I had to make some serious changes for myself first. I couldn't very well go talking to other people about all this stuff if I didn't really know what I was talking about myself. So I've learned so much since then, and we're going to share a lot of that with you tonight. So throughout all that stuff, the one word to describe me would have been desperate through all those years. There's a very interesting a very common dynamic and very interesting dynamic in relationships that we're all aware of, and that is the one of the reacher and the settler, where there is one person in the relationship that is very, very clean to the other, and the other person is just less interested in comparison. And for most of my younger years, I was actually the former of that equation. I was the clean, nice guy looking to a relationship to fill up what I felt was missing. Lacking in self-esteem, I wanted a relationship so badly, and I was waiting for that miracle that so I could feel whole again. So I found myself attracted to confident and loving people, those people that had what I believed I was missing. But because I didn't see myself as having anything to offer, that attraction was by no means mutual. In fact, if I did manage to get into a relationship, I was constantly checking to see if she would leave me and making my whole life about her. Most of the time, though, I found myself landing in the quote-unquote friend zone and hearing the words, "You're a nice guy, but I just don't see you that way." It happened more times than I care to remember, and honestly, I just wanted to know why. I constantly searched for what I need to change, and truth be told, I always came up with something. Some was things that I'm proud of to have done, become funnier, more intelligent, be more caring of others, and other times it was just plain shallow and or stupid to change to get myself a relationship. Things like changing my looks or being a jerk and playing hard to get. Now imagine all that and then checking constantly with my partner, if I actually got to that stage, or just my love interest, if it was working, seeking validation from her, and doing that day in, day out, exhaustingly desperate to say the very, very least. And surprisingly, that I didn't drive more people insane. Oh, if I did, they just didn't tell me about it. And as time went on, I actually flipped to the other side of that equation, becoming the uninterested one and only caring for myself and actually hurting the feelings of many people along the way as well. So I've done both of those sides, and neither of them work to an extreme, to be honest with you. So there was always something that I thought I needed to do, a particular way I thought I needed to be to fill that gap that I perceived in my life. I thought that I needed a relationship. I didn't feel that I had a choice, and I backed myself up against the wall thinking that I needed that relationship and there was no other way. And this is something that actually every single one of us do, and it's actually the greatest challenge for us to overcome in relationships and in life as well. It's that most common trap, and it's so easy to fall back into, even if we've just gotten out of it. And when we demand something that something has to happen a certain way so that we can fill a gap and that we don't think we have a choice. For example, when we say, in order for me to feel whole / successful / happy / filled, I need to fill in the blank here, like have a relationship. Each time we do, we create a limit for ourselves. So how many times in relationships have you said, this is how it should be. And then fill in the blank with whatever you said. And whether or not that was telling your partner to do something, telling them how to be, or yourself how to be more likely, or forcing your relationship into something that hasn't yet happened naturally, telling yourself that you should be in a relationship by now, or be married, or have children. How many times have you been there? Have you ever done that where you actually tried to force something to happen? I think all of us have. And every time that we do this, we create a boundary. And every time I said to myself, I need this to be a certain way, I created a boundary for myself. I backed myself up against another wall. Every one of these shoulds was limiting my choices because I believed I had to live within these rules. Some of these boundaries were healthy. For example, the ones that tell me, even today, that I shouldn't steal or hurt others, for example, are really quite healthy because these are about respecting the choices of others. But then there are those shoulds that limited my own choices, such as those relationship shoulds that more often than not placed a burden on those I cared for because I was more concerned with who I thought I need to be than actually accepting what was actually happening. That was the point where a gap between myself and others appeared, and disconnection and miscommunication began. Now, the first step to breaking down personal obstacles, is to be aware of your own choices. So the question is, who do you think that you need to be? What limitations are you putting on yourself? Who are you being because you think you need to be, and how does that affect others as well? If you think you need to be a certain way in your relationship, whether or not that's in your marriage, or whether or not you're dating someone, you think you need to be a particular way that way, or just in your life in general, how is that starting to affect others, and who are you not being in those times as a result that perhaps you need to be instead? But because you think that you don't need to be, you're actually missing out, and you're actually doing yourself a bigger disservice. So we'll explore more on these roles and how we can get stuck in them more when we get to the 9 stages. So for me, once I learned that I didn't need anything to be a particular way, my relationships transformed. It's now all a choice for me. So I stopped telling myself that I had to be a certain way, and I got to choose my response to any situation, to accept it as it was. I was no longer trapped by a certain idea, but actually free to choose for myself what I actually wanted to do. And as a result, the result is me being genuinely happy with who I am, where I am, and choosing for things to be different because it is something that I want and not something out of desperation or need. There's now a love for self as well as a love for others, and with those two sides working together, which is what we're going to be looking at in those 9 stages. In relationship, this has meant that I am choosing to be in a relationship or to not be because I want it so. It is choosing something that adds to me and making a choice every day to be with that person. And those in long-lasting relationships already will know precisely what I mean. The fact that you can choose someone and it's not out of need or desperation. In fact, the most attractive quality any person, man, woman, single or taken, can have is to know within themselves that they're enough right now, that they don't need anything more, and they're not lacking anything, and to still make a choice to be with someone regardless. Someone that doesn't have to be with you because they're happy and great all by themselves, but are still present for you every day and show that they choose to be with you every single day. This is what I want for you, and this is who I want you to be for your partner as well. I talk a lot about choice, as I said, and that is because that is the illusion of lack of choice is the thing that keeps us stuck and desperate. Whenever we feel that we don't have a choice, that's when things start to unravel for us. When we believe we need something to be a certain way, we cut off all other options. So be mindful when you do make these decisions, and when you make, more to the point, when you make them without realizing. These decisions can be really quite powerful, especially when you're moving forward in your life, and saying, yep, this is it. I'm no longer going back to that and just burning a bridge. They can be very, very powerful for you. But if you're making these decisions without realizing, then they may actually be cutting off your options without you even realizing. So relationships are that coalescence of two individuals, each with each person doing their own thing and choosing to be with the other person because it is a decision and not being with someone to get something that they think they need. Again, I want to reiterate, it's not out of desperation or need. Okay, so as we go on, I want you guys to share your insights. So in the comments below, I'm still learning all this stuff. I know a fair bit about it, but I'm still learning every single day. And truth be told, we are all experts at everything. So we all have an opinion on different things. You're going to notice things about all this stuff that I'm going to miss, and vice versa. So as we go along, please feel free to share your insights in the comments box below. And that way, when people do come to see it, people come to watch this recording, then they're going to be able to see all the cool stuff, and you get to show off a little bit as well. And you get to share what your insights as well and add value to the people that are coming along next. All right, so let's actually get to the meat of it, to the 9 actions for lasting relationships. So these are the 9 stages of relationships as well, and they're stages that we all go through. Every single one of these have their own set of values, a focus that at each level will be different, and you think you'll need to be a certain way at each point. And these are the roles that we're talking about. At level 2, you'll think that you need to be a completely different person than what you think you need to be at level 8 in marriage. So it's constantly changing, and you consistently progress through all this stuff. I'm going to mention a bit more about this later, but this isn't a matter of a progression all the way through it to the point where you surpass it, not by any means. This is actually a point where you will go through these stages, but it's about understanding those levels and then being able to visit them as they're necessary as well. You'll understand more about what I mean as we go through. So it's actually split up into 2 separate areas, self and others. So numbers 1 through to 4, they're all focused on self, with just you in the picture. Your other people don't come into this at all. And then number 6 to 9. Ooh, I missed that there. Slides are acting up a bit. Number 6 to 9, they are all about you interacting with others as well. So, and with number 5, oneness, or that single item, that single entity, seeing yourself and others as one, that acts as a bridge between the 2. So we will be spending most of our time tonight in the first 5, because that is really what you need to do in order to actually influence your relationship on the greatest level. So there's no point us focusing on the latter 4 stages unless you've actually got the first 5 down and you're actually bringing your best to the relationship first up. You'll notice as well as we go through these that they swing back and forth to a singular to multiplicity sort of focus. So levels 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, they're all going to be focused on seeing things as a single entity, as one complete thing, and with no separation between any parts. Whereas parts 2, 4, 6, and 8, they're all about seeing you and another entity, and it's about figuring out the interaction, the relation between those 2 elements. So you're going to notice yourself through a lot of these stages. You won't see yourself in just one. As we go through them, you'll say, oh yeah, you know what, that's me there, but I also see myself here. I'm seeing this here. So it is very much possible to progress to other stages, even if you haven't completely surpassed the one before. So just focus on that, and then you can have a look at where that one is that you might be struggling the most with. Just going to take a drink of water. Awesome. So number one is awareness, and can't really say much about awareness. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it's bring everything back to a very, very simple level of awareness. No simple level of acceptance, I should say. And it's a space that allows us just to remove all judgment and just be. It's this place where there is just complete infinite potential. There is no judgment whatsoever, no labels on it, no rules on what it should be. It just completely is taking everything as is. And this is a very, very powerful stage because, and it is the simplest, but is an amazing, amazing place to be because it allows you to sort of wipe the slate clean and completely relax. So I did promise you some exercises as we go through. And the very first exercise is relates to this one, and that is all about turning off. So take an hour a week to turn off to everything. So allow yourself to actually go and go, okay, cool, I don't need to be this anymore. I don't need to have these rules applied to me more, and just completely allow yourself to relax and turn off to everything. It allows you to remove any boundaries so you can actually see how many choices you can actually have. So you don't need to be this way, you don't need to be this way. In fact, the reality is you can choose to be any way you actually want to be, including no way at all, which is what this is. This is not a major exercise by any means whatsoever, but it is a very powerful one. So for myself, and it doesn't have to be serious by any means. It doesn't have to be something that you do every single Friday on the dot at 6:03 p.m. You don't need to do that at all. It can be very fun if you do stuff like yoga or meditation or dancing. It's just any method that you have really of clearing your mind. So for me, it's I used to one of my favorite methods of what I used to do was I used to catch up with my best mate every single Friday, and we just used to grab a couple of beers and just relax, and that was really all it was. But more than anything, it was just about allowing ourselves to relax and not really worry at all about who we needed to be, if we need to actually be a boyfriend or fiance for my best mate at the time. Didn't need to do that at all. It was just about allowing ourselves to be however we actually wanted to be. So it's just that way of clearing your mind. You can do that as an hour per week and just choose to turn and just choose to turn off for that much. But what I do like to do is anytime I go from changing roles, so whether or not I'm switching roles and going from the gym and then moving to work, I'll take a moment just to switch between. And what that does, it just allows me to clear the slate between things and actually see that I don't need to focus fully within these rules. I can actually choose to do this work this way or completely do another way. And so the really amazing thing about this is you actually can have two completely different parts within yourself and somewhat conflicting parts at times, if you compare them, but they can exist perfectly within you at the same time, which is quite the amazing thing. So, and that's actually what we're going to be focused on next in actual parts of self. So parts of self is all about seeing all the different aspects of yourself as separate entities. For example, if you have issues from the past or challenges from the past, as you're trying to constantly define those areas in little packets, so to speak. And then there's the part of yourself that is the relationship area, or the part of yourself that is the career area, or the part of yourself that is the health area. All these different areas. And you need to be someone completely different in each of these little things. And what we're trying to do constantly in our head is we're trying to define them in these little packets, so to speak. And okay, this is this way, this is that way, and trying to organize them all so they all make sense for us. And once we can do that, then we can actually figure out what is missing. And this is how everything is, and this is what's missing. This is where I'm lacking as well. But the only problem with doing that is when we actually do that, we start to get caught up in it. And this is where perfection starts, where we start to go, okay, I'm missing this. I really need to change this right. I need to change this right now, and I need to actually fill this hole within myself. And because we want to fill that hole for ourselves, we start getting attached to it, and this is where that clingy nature in relationships come from. We're looking to. That problem arises when you believe the answer to filling that lack is actually external to you. If it's outside of you, then you become clingy, looking to others to fill you because you're so focused on resolving these parts of self. But as a result, the relationships fail because you are coming into them from a place of desperation. Any relationships will be actually based in that idea of horse trading, swapping, and being dependent on the other person until you see yourself and others as a whole. I trust that makes sense. And actually, most people actually stuck here. This is where majority of the population spend their time. So they spend their time here constantly worrying about how everything is always fitting together. And then, for example, when life happens and let's say that they break up with their partner, they then revert back to this area, and now they have to completely look at every single area of their life and then figure out how it all changes. And they need to understand every single little detail, why this has happened, what this means, how this is going to affect them. And most people get stuck here and they never actually get a chance to live in any of the other stages because they're so worried about what's going on here. We're going to be talking about a lot more about that in the next one, self-love, and this is where it all comes together, really understanding what that actually means and how to actually feel that self-love and self-confidence, even if things aren't completely perfect in your life right now. Okay, so the second exercise is know that things will change and learn to accept those changes. Again, it's just another level of acceptance for yourselves. And realize that there are all these different roles, there are all these things that you think you need to be across all the different stages. You need to be this particular way in your relationship part, and then this particular way in your career part. And you could have to be two completely different people, but realizing that even those two parts may be conflicting, that is completely okay. But because no one part actually defines you. Both can exist within you together, and you actually have a choice of who you want to be and who you decide to be at any given time. Number 3, self-love and self-confidence is all about taking those multiple parts of ourselves, the past issues and every single part of our present, and seeing them as one whole that you accept. But the thing is that many people find self-love difficult to achieve because they believe that all their parts, all their ducks need to be in order. So if one little hair is out of place, then they won't be able to move forward. They'll say, okay, cool, I need my career perfect, I need my relationship perfect, and my health perfect before I can actually love myself in how I am. So they won't allow themselves to move forward if anything is out of place and not how they want it. The truth is that self-confidence and self-love comes from taking all that you are and accepting it, not trying to change it and not loving it because it is perfect, but taking all that it is and loving it anyway. For your friends or your family, do you demand perfection from them, or do you love them irregardless of the imperfections? My guess is that the latter is true. Exercise 3 is a bit of a fun one. I tell this to all my clients, and they first ask me and go, "Hang on, Frank, what are you talking about? Why would I go finger paint?" And that's really, it's really all about not taking yourself so seriously. I absolutely love doing this. It is one of the easiest ways not to take yourself serious, because in fact, the more serious that you do take yourself, the more you'll demand everything to be perfect before you can actually love yourself. But finger painting is one of those things that is very, very hard to be serious when doing finger painting, or even just thinking about finger painting. You know, if you think about finger painting right now, you're bound to have a smile on your face. And the thing is that you'll make a huge mess of things and you'll still have a bucket load of fun doing it. And you really can't get things perfect whilst you're trying to finger paint. Even if you try to, paint the Harbour Bridge and try to get all shading and everything in there, you'll still make a glorious mess of things. And honestly, that's part of the fun. And you'll still love it and you'll still enjoy it. So it's not by any means about being perfect or having everything in way. It's really just taking things as they are and enjoying things in the moment. If you've been around me for long enough, then I would have said it more than once. And that's one of my favorite quotes is, don't take life too seriously. You'll never get out of life. You'll never get out alive. Of course, none of us ever have. And the secret to self-love and self-confidence is really being willing to put yourself out there and to honestly make a bit of an ass out of yourself, even if it's not perfect. If you wait until it all is, then you'll exhaust yourself completely waiting, and you'll just be waiting and waiting and waiting. When you do finally get this self-love, amazing things happen for yourself. It almost feels like your ambition and motivation dries up, and you don't feel like you need to achieve your goals anymore. And at first, when you first hear that, you're like, hang on, Frank, why would I want that? But the truth is that feeling is knowing that you're whole actually without it. And the reason that motivation dries up is because you don't need it for the exact same reasons that you once did. As soon as you move forward, you're not doing this because you need to. You're doing this because you have this newfound power within you, this newfound confidence within you, and you actually have this desire to create with it. You create with it, and that actually leads to number 4, which is focusing on self and others, and also going on some adventures as well. Now that you have this self-love, and you know that you are whole, you know who you are. And now it's time to figure out who you are in relative to others. So who are you and who are they? This is where you begin to step outside your comfort zone. It's not scary anymore because you now have that self-love and you have that self-confidence that allows you to take a chance even though it's not perfect, which is so important. So you try new things, expand your horizons. And now that you know yourself, it's actually time to get curious about others and study the unique way that they see the world. You see your own world a particular way and you accept that. Now it's about getting curious about others. And the more you do that, the more you actually realize how much similarities there are between you both, but at the same time appreciating those differences. And that is so key for the latter parts of the relationships, which we're going to touch on later. So if you're struggling to meet people, or you just always seem to be doing something but never actually get anywhere, then this is actually about no longer playing it safe. It's a romantic idea to leave your love life in fate's hands, but it's a mistake not to be proactive in your relationship. It doesn't matter whether or not you're single or if you're in a relationship. If you find fear coming up when doing this, then it's all about self-love for you. So actually go back to stage number 3. So the exercise is to get outside of your comfort zone, have fun in the unknown, and as I say, make better use of your Fridays so you can have better stories to tell on the Mondays. It really doesn't matter what it is, just as long as it gets your heartbeat racing, and it's something that you wouldn't normally do. It's something that you're unfamiliar with. So the oneness is a really important one. This is the bridge between yourself and others, and as a result, it is the stage where you're in the best position to begin a relationship. Oneness is where you have come to accept who you are, as you did in stage number 3, and you accept others as they are after exploring them in stage number 4. And now you see them and you as a single entity. There is no separation between you two, and you are going through this world together. You realize that you are all in it together. You see that you are in this with others, and you'll sense that link that lies between you and others. As you change yourself, the world around you starts to change, and this is a place where you're free to make your own choice. But at the same time, you also respect that choice of others as well. This is that love for self, but love for others, and those two sides working together that we were talking about before. And so a very, very simple exercise is to make a difference, realizing that we are all in this together. And the best way to help self at this point is to actually help others. So take care of others' dreams, and yours will be taken care of as well. Before we go on, I just want to ask you guys to, if you do have any questions, type them in the chat box, and you can actually access that by going on the Relationship Revealed website. There'll be a chat tab next to the info tab. Do that, type in your name and log in, and then just type whatever your question is there. And then when I get to the end, I'll be answering those questions. All right, moving on. These are the latter 4 stages, 6, 7, 8, and 9, attraction and recognition. This is where the interaction between yourself and others begins. And it actually becomes more than just about yourself. The first 5 stages were about how you perceive things within yourself, and now it is about others as well. So coming from a place of love for self and others, you now not only see the value in yourself, but also the value in others. And they also begin to recognize the value in you as well. Attraction at this level is seeing someone that you do not need, but you still appreciate the unique way in which they see the world and choosing to be around them. And that was when you started to explore them in stage number 4, when you started to have that sense of adventure, when you started to say, oh, you know what, they see things completely differently. But in 5, you realized how similar you actually are. And that actually paves the way through it. And once you start recognizing that value in each other's, that's when that attraction starts to build between the two. Because again, it's not coming out of a place of need or anything like that. And you're not doing it, you're not attracted to them because you need them to be in your life. You're attracted to them because they are very, very similar to you, but at the same time, you truly appreciate all the subtle differences about them. Level 7 is you dating an impact. You are now together as a couple, and you are that single unit. So there is no separation between you or the other, and you basically have, and because of that, you have this huge ability to impact the other person. You start thinking about them every single moment. You take them into consideration whenever you make a decision, and between you, you create this unique experience made up of the 2 paths you each have chosen. And there's this amazing energy between you two, because it's this, brand new child. This relationship is basically this child that you have created between you two, as a result of each of you walking your own path, which is such that amazing thing. You each are going on your own way, and by no means do you have to walk the same path just because you're in a relationship. You do not need to follow each other. I want to make that very, very clear. You each do your own thing, and then you keep choosing, there's that word, to come back to each other, come back to your mate for love, support, and acceptance. And you get to tell them all about the adventures that you've had in your own path. But you keep going in that same direction with you, and you keep creating that life together, creating that special life that you have with no one else, with that special person. And this is where it really true impact starts to come, and it really becomes the greatest part of your life, the most important part of your life. Okay, so stage number 8 is marriage, and this is where you are now a couple, but on a much greater level. The whole world recognizes you as a single item, and now it is about figuring out how you as a couple interacts and define yourselves in relation to the rest of the world. So who are you when you interact with couples or other singles? Marriage is, again, that next level that just takes it all to that whole other level of you understanding, okay, cool, it's now me and them, and then there's everyone else. And it's understanding how your unique decisions, how you make those decisions together, and how you're going to move through life doing that. The next stage then beyond that, and the last stage is parenting. It's leaving something behind that has been birthed from you, two unique people. This requires you to not only see you and your partner as a single item together, but also the child that you have created as well. All three of you is a single unit. So a child in this context is anything that both partners have created between them, whether that's the relationship themselves, a baby, a business, a pet, or just, as I said, a life together. And the purpose of any relationship is to grow beyond ourselves and to give life to something that will outlive it. And giving life to something that is going to outlive you is the greatest example of that. That is the entire point of it. It is something that you get to create, and it's going to evolve. It's going to be a combination of the two parts of you, but at the same time, your child is also going to have a complete unique voice of its own. So relationship growth, and this is where a lot of people get very, very stuck in when it comes to relationship. They want things to change and progress in their relationship, but they're unsure how to do it, and as a result, they try and force it to be. We've just gone through those 9 stages, and that was the natural progression of what actually happens with them. So you're going to be a parent, but at the same time, you're also going to be a husband and wife, and you're also going to be a single person and going through that. It's not by any means a simple case of surpassing one level and getting to the next, and finally getting from all the way from awareness to parenting and going, yay, I've finally got to parenting. I've completely finished, and that's the end, and now I don't have to do any more work. It's not that at all. It's, as I said at the beginning, it's more about understanding each levels, and then being able to actually change as you need to, transcend between each of these levels as you actually the situation demands, or more to the point, as you choose to do so. And so it's about recognizing that not only are you a parent, but you're also a husband and wife. Not only are you a husband, but you're also a single person in relationship. You're also a lover, or you're also a best friend to your partner. And not only are you in a relationship with that person, but you're also a single person with your own interests, and doing your own thing. And then you have your own way of seeing the world. You have your own completely unique areas. You have a different life, completely different life actually to your partner. You share this common ground. Which is such a hugely important area. But you have a different relationship part to yourself. You have a different health part to your partner. You have a different career path to your partner. All these different things, that a partner is actually made up of the word part. They are only just a part of it. They are not everything to you. But the truth is that beyond anything, you do not actually need to force a relationship to grow. Again, just think of it like a child. You really don't need to force a child to grow. It's just going to happen as time goes on, as long as it keeps getting what is actually needed. So as long as two people keep showing up to a relationship, that relationship is going to continue to grow. And it's actually by only changing what influences that relationship, the people in it, can you actually influence the relationship as it exists between them. It's like going up to a child and saying, no, you need to be this particular way, and not trying to influence or anything like that, just trying to force it to be different. It won't work. If you want to influence a child, then you go to the parents and you change them. And as a result, as examples, that child is then going to change as a result of what it's being influenced by. And relationships are the exact same. So the more and more you focus on the role of you as an individual in your relationship, no matter where you're at in yours, you'll be able to actually change your relationship for the better, or for the worse, depending on what you're doing. So this is really about how much impact you actually have on the relationship, and how much you doing something or not doing something can drastically change your relationship. So if you do want to change your relationship, it's not about focusing on the other person or focusing on communication in marriage, or dating techniques, or whatever the case may be. It's not about that at all. focus on what you're actually bringing to the table, and you'll find that your relationship completely transforms as a result. So again, can I just ask you to share your insights in the comments box below? Any ideas, any unique ways that you see this? Have a look around, and also again, type in your questions in the chat box. I will just got one more thing after this, and if there are no questions, then I will be wrapping it up. But if there are questions, then I will of course answer those and then wrap up after that. So now is your chance. Please type in your questions right now if you do have any. Otherwise, I'll keep on moving forward. So now that you know all these 9 stages of the relationships, the stages that we're all going through, whether we realize it or not, actually, and I'm really curious as to where you're at with it, or what's the stage that you're actually, what stage you may be getting stuck at, what stage are you having trouble with surpassing? Are you at stage number 2 and struggling with consolidating all those parts of self, resolving all those parts of self, and actually feeling that self-love for yourself, as most people are? Or are you at another stage altogether? Are you at thinking that you need to be a particular way in your marriage, or thinking that you need to be a particular way whilst you're to be attractive to someone? What is it for you, and where's that stage for yourself? So just know that for yourself, and once you do, I want to invite you to come to my Make Love Last Facebook group, which is a Facebook group just focused completely on doing this, completely on these 9 stages. We can chat to me about it all. Ask me any questions that you might have, but at the same time, also get around this community and make sure that you really stick at this. I know that sometimes it does feel like we're doing this all alone, but I want to show you that you're not doing this. There is this whole community behind it, and you're more than likely going to meet other people that are going through the exact same thing as you. So all you need to do is get out there and understand that someone else has those answers. As I said, we're all experts at doing something. So I invite you to come along to that group with us, and really join in and have a good conversation with us. So I've just posted that to the chat box. So all you need to do is go to relationshipsrevealed.com.au/FB-group. All right, and that's actually going to redirect you to the Facebook group. And all you need to do is click join, and then I'll approve your request, and then you'll be all good to go from there. The reason I didn't put the Facebook link is just because there's a whole bunch of numbers, and it'd be very awkward for you guys to type it in. So something easy for you guys to type in, and so go there, and I invite you to do it. Other than that, I'm not seeing any questions come in, so I am going to wrap it up. I do want to say thank you so much for everyone coming along. It is so amazing. I love it every time, and keep an eye out for my emails. I will be sending them to you soon, and also I will see